Today, we're diving into the topic of sweeteners. We all know that sugar isn't great for our health, but what about the alternatives? Are they really any better? Now, let's be honest. We all love something sweet every now and then. And I don't think cutting out sweets completely is the solution. If you're someone who's confused about which sugar alternative is healthier and which ones to use, then stick around. In this episode, I'm going to cover the most common sugar alternatives and how they actually affect our bodies. I just want everyone to become more aware and make better choices. I'm not someone who's going to say that sugar is poison or that it's going to kill you, like a lot of health influencers might claim. Instead, I believe in empowering you with all the knowledge so that you can make better informed choices. By the end of this episode, you'll be able to help your friends and family make better choices when it comes to sweeteners. So let's start with the basics. Refined white sugar, which most of us use, is basically just empty calories. This means it gives you energy, but it lacks any nutrients. Because of this, consuming sugar can contribute to weight gain, obesity, and even diabetes. Overeating sugar can also harm your skin and speed up the aging process. So in this episode, I'll break down 7 different types of sugar alternatives. We have jaggery, honey, coconut sugar, maple syrup, stevia, monk fruit, and artificial sweeteners, including sugar alcohols. I'll also touch on healthier options like dates, raisins, and other dried fruits. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear understanding of sugar alternatives and why refined sugar-free doesn't mean you can eat as much as you want. I also want to add that many people feel guilt or shame when they eat too many sweets or unhealthy foods. But in reality, the guilt and shame can do a lot more damage than the food itself. I covered this topic in more detail in my first episode, How to Heal Your Relationship with Food. So if you want to dive deeper into that, make sure to check it out. So the first 2 sugar alternatives we're going to talk about are jaggery and brown sugar. Now, jaggery and brown sugar are often seen as the healthier alternative to refined white sugar because they are less processed. Jaggery, for example, retains some of its molasses, which means it contains a small amount of minerals like iron, magnesium, and potassium. Brown sugar also contains a small percentage of molasses, and this gives it a slightly higher mineral content as compared to white sugar. However, it's important to note that both jaggery and brown sugar have the same amount of calories as white sugar. So 1 teaspoon of jaggery or brown sugar has about 16 calories, which is the same as white sugar. But you hear people all the time talking about how jaggery is high in iron and potassium. So let's talk about that. Yes, jaggery does contain some iron, magnesium, and potassium. A 100-gram block of jaggery has about 11 milligram of iron, which is about 60% of your daily intake. But if someone is consuming 100 gram of jaggery, they're most likely going to be exceeding their calorie intake for the day and be consuming a lot of sugar for the body to process. So for practical purposes, let's look at 1 teaspoon of jaggery, which seems like a more realistic amount, right? So you add about 1 teaspoon in your tea or coffee, and that gives you less than 1 milligram of iron, which is about 4% of your daily intake. So basically, you would have to be eating a impractically large amount of jaggery to meet your daily iron needs. And you're getting it with all these calories and sugar. Your blood sugar will also spike exactly as it did with white sugar or brown sugar, and it's not the best option for someone with diabetes either. So you get the picture that jaggery is slightly healthier than white sugar, yes, but it's not a health food. Yes, you can replace some of your cakes and desserts with jaggery, but your body still processes it like sugar. So when you look at a product that contains brown sugar or jaggery, you'll see it labeled as refined sugar-free. Now, this just means that it's less processed than white sugar, but that's about it. But it's still absorbed by the body just like sugar, has the same amount of calories with just a tiny amount of nutrients. So if you're eating jaggery to meet your iron requirements, it's like eating an ice cream to stay hydrated. It just doesn't make sense. So let's dive into the second sweetener on our list today, which is honey. Now, honey often gets the reputation of being a superfood, and there is some truth to that. Studies have shown that honey has antimicrobial properties and can even help reduce inflammation, which sounds pretty great, right? But here's the thing, honey is still made up primarily of glucose and fructose, which means that it is high in sugar. Just like with the other sweeteners, if you consume honey in large quantities, it can lead to weight gain and spikes in your blood sugar. 1 teaspoon of honey has about 21 calories, which is actually more than jaggery and even white sugar. So while honey does have some health benefits, you'll have to eat a lot of it to reap those benefits. And of course, that much sugar will cancel out any of the benefits. There's another catch with honey. Honey is often adulterated with corn syrup or regular sugar. In fact, studies show that in India, around 70% of the honey is adulterated. The numbers are lower in other places like Europe, which is about 40%, and 10% in the US. But it's still something to be aware of. The other thing with honey is that when it is heated, it can lose some of its beneficial properties. So if you're going to use honey, it's best to consume it raw and in small amounts. When it comes to honey, I think there's also an ethical side which is worth thinking about. So bees make honey naturally to feed themselves, especially in colder months when flowers aren't available. In commercial production, this honey is often taken away from the bees and it is replaced with sugar water, which obviously doesn't provide the same nutrients that the bees need. Another issue is that the wings of the queen bee are sometimes clipped to keep her from leaving the hive, which is obviously not natural and limits her ability to move freely. So for those who care about animal welfare, skipping honey is actually pretty easy. There are so many plant-based sweeteners out there that can give you the same sweetness you're looking for without involving animals at all. Okay, so now we're going to talk about stevia and monk fruit. These are two super popular natural sweeteners out there today. They're both a lot sweeter than regular sugar, but have 0 calories, which seems like a win, right? Especially if you're trying to cut back on sugar or manage your blood sugar levels. So stevia is about 200 to 300 times sweeter than regular sugar and it doesn't spike your blood sugar. So it's often a go-to for people with diabetes. But here's the thing, most stevia products aren't pure stevia. A lot of them are mixed with other ingredients like dextrose or maltodextrin. And these are basically other types of sugar which will raise your blood sugar. Sometimes they also add sugar alcohols like erythritol, which don't add calories but can cause some tummy issues like gas and bloating for some people. Now, monk fruit is another sweetener that's much sweeter than sugar, and like stevia, it's calorie-free and doesn't spike your blood sugar. However, the same issue applies with monk fruit. Many monk fruit products are mixed with other ingredients like erythritol or dextrose, so it's not always as healthy as it seems. The bottom line with both those sweeteners is that they are better than regular sugar, especially if you are trying to avoid calories, but you still need to be mindful of those extra ingredients. Plus, we still don't know the long-term effects of these sweeteners, especially when it comes to gut health. So that's something to be mindful of. So here's what I recommend with stevia and monk fruit. Number one is to make sure to read the labels. Make sure you're getting as pure a product as possible. The second thing is don't overdo it. Just because it has 0 calories doesn't mean you should use tons of it. Pay attention to how your body reacts to it. And the third thing is to stay informed. Keep up with the new studies as we're learning more all the time about how these sweeteners can affect our bodies. Now let's talk about coconut sugar and palm sugar. Both of these sweeteners are quite similar. Coconut sugar is made from the sap of coconut trees, while palm sugar is made from the sap of date palms. The process is pretty straightforward. The sap is collected from the tree, then it's boiled until it thickens and it becomes a syrup. After that, it's crystallized to form coconut sugar or palm sugar. So since these sugars are less processed than white sugar, they do retain small amounts of nutrients like iron and potassium. However, the nutrient content is so minimal that you need to consume a large amount of it to get any significant benefits. And in terms of calories, they're also similar to white sugar, brown sugar, and jaggery with about 15 to 18 calories per teaspoon. So while they might be slightly less processed than white sugar, they're still sugar and should be used in moderation. So I think the bottom line with all of these sweeteners is that it's all about moderation. Whether it's sugar or honey or coconut sugar or any other sweetener, too much of it can be bad for your health. Now let's talk about artificial sweeteners and sugar alcohols. These two common sugar alternatives you've probably seen in like diet sodas, sugar-free snacks, and low-calorie desserts. So first, let's talk about artificial sweeteners. These include things like aspartame, which is found in Equal, sucralose, which is found in Splenda, and saccharin, found in Sweet and Low. Now, these are artificially made to be way sweeter than regular sugar, but with hardly any calories. And I know this sounds great, but here's the catch. Even though they have fewer calories, some studies show that they can mess with your gut health. They can disturb the balance of good bacteria in your digestive system, leading to issues like bloating and gas. There's also something else to consider when it comes to artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners might actually make you crave more sweets. The thing is, your brain expects real sugar, and when it doesn't get the same satisfaction, you might end up reaching for more sugary products. So in the long run, it can make you crave sugary stuff even more, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of trying to cut out calories in the first place. So now let's talk about sugar alcohols like erythritol, xylitol, and sorbitol. These are often found in sugar-free products like gum, candy, and low-carb baked goods. They have fewer calories than regular sugar, but the thing is they're not fully absorbed by the body. This means they can sit in the gut and cause bloating and gas, and sometimes even diarrhea. So my advice is when you see something labeled as sugar-free, check the ingredients. Just because it says sugar-free doesn't mean you go crazy and eat a ton of it. These alternatives can still cause gut issues if you have too much of it. The last sugar alternative that I'm going to talk about is maple syrup. Now, maple syrup is a natural sweetener made from the sap of maple trees. It's made by boiling the sap of the tree until it's a thick syrup. I really love maple syrup on my pancakes and my waffles, but it's important to understand that even though maple syrup does contain some nutrients like manganese and zinc, it's still very high in sugar. 1 teaspoon of maple syrup has about 17 calories, and it also has a high glycemic index, which means it will spike your blood sugar. And if you were comparing maple syrup to whole foods like fruits and vegetables, maple syrup obviously doesn't provide that much nutrition for the calories it contains. So if you're replacing maple syrup with refined white sugar, then that can be a slightly healthier option. But simply adding maple syrup to your diet and thinking that it's going to be beneficial doesn't make sense. It's still a form of sugar, just less processed like coconut sugar and the other ones we spoke about. And again, the key is to use it in moderation, just like any of the other sweeteners. So now if you're wondering what is the best way to enjoy something sweet, my answer is to focus on whole food sources of sugar. Fresh fruits like bananas, berries, apples, and oranges have natural sugar, but they also come with fiber and antioxidants and nutrients. And this can help slow down the absorption of sugar in your body, which basically means you get the sweet taste without the spike in your blood sugar. Then we have dried fruits like raisins and dates, which are really good choices too. They're a bit higher in sugar, but they also come with fiber and other nutrients. So you can use them in smoothies, in oatmeal, and even in baked goods to add sweetness in a natural way. I have a lot of recipes on my Instagram, which are basically desserts sweetened with dates and raisins and apples. And then maybe I add a little bit of coconut sugar or jaggery. But I am really mindful when I create my recipes to make sure I include some whole food source of sugar because I feel so much better. When I make a dessert with whole foods, I'm not only cutting down on refined sugar, but I'm also getting in more nutrients. So these natural sources of sugar can really help satisfy your sweet cravings in a healthy way. Okay, so let's wrap things up. I know it's easy to reach for the sugar alternatives and think they're much healthier, but remember, most of them aren't much better for you if you overdo it. Instead, try incorporating more whole food sources of sugar like fresh fruits and dried fruits into your diet. They give you natural sweetness plus fiber and nutrients, which is a win-win. If you're trying to cut back on sugar, you could start with what you put into your tea and coffee. So, for example, you can try using small amounts of pure stevia or monk fruit into your tea or coffee. Over time, your taste buds will adjust. You might also be surprised that after a certain amount of time, you don't need as much sugar as you used to because it takes about 3 weeks for your taste buds to adapt. So, I'm going to say it again. The key here is balance and moderation. You don't need to give up sweets completely. Just make smarter choices, learn to reduce your portion sizes so you can still enjoy them in a way that supports your overall health. The other thing I want to add is when it comes to mindset, if we're constantly craving sugar and sweet things, it could be just that you need more sweetness in your life. And this might sound crazy, but it doesn't always have to come from food. It could be like spending more time with friends and family, learning to nourish yourself with the right foods, learning to love yourselves, and enjoying long walks in nature. All of these could fill you up and satisfy you, and you might notice that your sugar cravings actually reduce. So thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you found this episode useful, and if there is another topic that you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to share this podcast with your friends or family or anyone who has no idea about how these sugar alternatives actually affect our body and how we can make better choices. I'll see you in the next episode of Wellness with Ashti. Thanks for tuning in.